Russell Simmons and Rabbi Marc Schneier. אני אספר לכם בינתיים שרסל סימונס עשה את הונו הבלתי מבוטל מחברת התקליטים דף ג'אם. Mr. Simmons, nice to have us, to have you with us. I'm saying a couple things in Hebrew, Rabbi Schneier. דף ג'אם היא מעמודי התווך של ההיפ-הופ האמריקני, אם אתם מכירים את Run DMC. רן זה אגב, הוא אחיו, הבחור שנקרא רן. אבל סימונס הוא לא איש עסקים רגיל והוא לא אומן רגיל, הוא בעל אמונות מוגדרות מאוד ביחס לחברה ולאנשים, ותכף נשמע את זה, ואיתו רבי מרק שנייר שהוגדר אחד הרבנים המשפיעים ביותר בקהילה היהודית בארצות הברית, ומי שייסד את הקרן לסובלנות אתנית, וגם על זה נשמע מיד. Mr. Simmons, why won't you, instead of me telling about you, you tell us your philosophy of business, music, and life? And pick up the microphone, please.
Well, should we start with why I'm here?
Yeah, why not?
Well, Shimon Peres invited me here to discuss these very subjects, and I thought it'd be better that if I come to Israel, I would bring my programs. I didn't want to talk about the programs as much as possible, so I want to start there. We came here because my partner Marc Schneier, who is also the chairman of the World Jewish Congress, is the president of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding. And what we've been doing around the world is in 40 countries or so, right? We have exchange programs where the rabbis and the imams exchange pulpits, and they have a twinning of the congregations. And it's something like I run many philanthropic, social, and political initiatives, but nothing has grown as dramatically as this. And so this is something that, having done it in 40 countries or so, something that really, the holy grail for this is to deliver this promise in Israel. And so that's what we've been doing this whole week, and we've had tremendous success, and I want to spend as much time on that.
And why? What's the drive behind it?
Well, because when peace comes in Israel, I mean, we all over the...
I'm talking about the 40 countries. I'm talking about the whole thing.
For instance, in America, where we have over 100 programs, there's so much Islamophobia. And to have the rabbis come out and create a rally like they did, where hundreds or tens of millions of people certainly participated on Twitter, and they said, I am Muslim for a day. Is that what we called it?
I am a Muslim too.
I'm a Muslim too. They did that 5 times since we've been. I'm a Muslim too. And there was this Peter King hearings at the time, and we influenced Congress to make a dramatic shift in the way that the witch hunting was being operated against the Muslim community. Similarly, in Israel, the American process ended up with the North American Board of Rabbis, imams, and they wrote letters to Hamas and it forced or helped to promote the release of the Israeli prisoner recently. That's right. So this dialogue has turned to action in many instances. And we know that the same dialogue here in this country would be very fruitful. And so yesterday, my partner, and he'll tell you about it, sat at our launch of 10 imams and 10 rabbis in Israel. And they're going to start their programs in November. And we've been sitting with the chief rabbi of Israel. We spent some time with him. And yesterday, I spent time with the Grand Mufti of the Palestinian people. So we just believe that this dialogue here is even more fruitful, and the potential to promote even peace beyond just the other actions is possible.
Rabbi Schneier, tell me about how you met, how you connected to begin with.
How did Russell and I connect?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we can thank Minister Farrakhan for introducing us, of all people. What happened that in 1997, I was the president of the New York Board of Rabbis. I was the head rabbi of New York. And Russell was involved in supporting the Million Man March of Louis Farrakhan. And a number of Russell's Jewish friends explained to Russell why Minister Farrakhan is a man of some controversy within the Jewish community.
The understatement of the century. Yeah.
And then they said, you know, And then they said that we know that the president of the New York Board of Rabbis, Marc Schneier, has a very keen interest in black-Jewish relations. That's how we met. It's been the most incredible friendship, partnership. I would say that the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, which we head up, which was established 23 years ago, the first 16 years, all we focused on was rebuilding the historic Black-Jewish alliance in the United States. If you carefully examine the civil rights struggle of the 1950s and 60s, there was no segment of American society that provided as much and as consistent support to Dr. King and to the African American community as did the Jewish community. Then unfortunately, that relationship, that alliance spiraled downward. The last 7 years, and it's Russell Simmons, not Marc Schneier, it's Russell Simmons who was the inspiration for us to shift focus from being the national address for Black-Jewish relations, where today we are the international address for Muslim-Jewish relations and bringing about a Muslim-Jewish reconciliation in North America, in South America, in Europe, and now we've come to the promised land.
Let's focus on that. Russell, you can take the microphone here. And you wrote a book about Martin Luther King and the civil rights and the Jews. And we all know in history that it was a great cooperation there. What happened since? What happened since?
Well, let me add to what he said. The interest that Marc took in Black-Jewish relations led to a dialogue, and with me, and of course I had been working with the Jewish community in many industries, and and I had a keen relationship with the Jewish community, and a keen relationship with the Muslim community, and of course, as he pointed out, with Minister Farrakhan. So as the secretary of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, I invited some of my friends and Jewish leaders to a meeting. And some of the Black community members, I had Cornel West, I had Reverend Jackson, Martin Luther King III, and Minister Farrakhan at my house. And he was to meet Elie Wiesel, Alon Steinberg, Israel Singer, you know who they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jewish leaders. But let me ask you.
And Marc to come to my house. And it turned out that no one showed up except Marc.
Oh.
And I said, well, how is it possible?
You know why? Because leaders like Farrakhan and Jesse Jackson alienated the Jewish community.
I think leaders like Abe Foxman helped to alienate the Black community as well, but we'll talk about that later. So
we have the headline.
When hundreds of thousands of Black people's lives were saved by it, and you can't diminish the impact some of those leaders have had on the Black community, and especially Louis Farrakhan in saving the lives of millions or hundreds of thousands, certainly, of Black people. So this discussion needed to be had. And since there's never been any bloodshed, certainly, between that group and the Jewish community, I thought the dialogue was critical, because when you attack leaders without having an interest in their followers or concern about the effect, instead of trying to give them a dialogue or in any case, I'll meet with anyone. I will meet with anyone. And in fact, I've proven that as not a Muslim or a Jew, but I would meet with anyone. And I would do it in the interest of humankind. So his coming to that meeting showed me a great deal of courage. Some of the other leadership did not show up. He did. They had a dialogue, came off what mountain when, and it was a good discussion. But it showed me his courage. Instead of secretary, I became the chairman, this was about 12 years ago, of this organization. And the work that we've done together as partners has been exemplary since, and it's documented. So
today, Rabbi Schneier, 2012, there's an African American at the White House. I don't see much joy in the Jewish community.
I think there's great joy in the Jewish community. I would go so far as to say that had not been for the significant role that the Jewish community played in the civil rights struggle, there would not be an African American in the White House today. I believe that when Barack Obama was first elected, close to 80% of the Jewish community supported the election of President Obama. I would also like to remind yourself and everyone in the audience that the civil rights struggle was not a one-way street. Dr. King, as the head of the civil rights struggle, was a tremendous advocate for the state of Israel. He was involved in the plight of Soviet Jewry. He had many references to the Holocaust. He had total disdain, zero tolerance for anti-Semitism, particularly when it emanated from the African American community. But Dr. King also understood that a people who fight for their own rights are only as honorable as when they fight for the rights of all people. And we have applied that King principle to our Muslim Jewish work, where today around the world we have Muslim leaders and we have imams and clerics from the Muslim community speaking out against anti-Semitism, confronting Holocaust denial, as we have rabbis who are in the forefront of combating Islamophobia, anti-Muslim bigotry. Our work is not about dialogue. Our work goes beyond dialogue. Our work is about fighting for the other. Jews fighting for Muslims and Muslims fighting for the Jews.
But you know, as we speak, there are rockets falling.
I'm sorry?
As we speak, I'm saying there are rockets falling in the southern part of Israel. And
You know what I said earlier today, and the guy from AP thought it was pretty funny. I said that the rap beef, and this may it may go over some people's head, it may offend some people, that because I've been involved in many social and political issues, and sometimes they're very complex. I said this dialogue about peace in Israel, and I said it, and people took offense. I said it's like a rap beef. You know what rap beef is?
Yeah.
You know what it is? When the trust comes, the beef goes away. And the lack of dialogue is deafening. And when there is the proper dialogue, trust grows. And the experiences that we've had around the world prove to us, and the experience we will have in Israel will prove to us that this dialogue, especially amongst those children of Abraham, those leaders in the religious community, that it will be fruitful for us. But without dialogue, no matter what, let me rephrase it, when peace comes, and peace will come, you're going to need this dialogue in order to have this. The seeds have to be laid for trust, and so that peace can be lasting and stable. And so this is the groundwork that we're laying.
The question we have, that as Russell said, when peace comes between Israel and the Palestinians, how is this peace going to be executed? How is this peace going to be implemented when a majority of Jews don't trust Muslims and a majority of Muslims don't trust Jews? I know, you might be very skeptical, all right, and cynical about what we are saying, but we have seen this in Europe, for example, where the Jewish community, we have seen the exponential growth of anti-Semitism, particularly from the Muslim community. It's become an existentialist issue for European Jewry. And here we are 5 years later. If you look at the photos of the rabbis and the imams marching hand in hand after the massacre in Toulouse, many of those imams are graduates of our program. This would have been inconceivable 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and today we see this paradigm. And we're also here because ideally, as we now bring the twinning and the exchange of rabbis and imams to Israel, rabbis speaking in mosques and imams speaking in synagogues, we would like to see Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Peres and President Abbas and Prime Minister Fayyad, we are going to ask them to be the honorary chairs of our program. This is not about land. This is about Muslim-Jewish reconciliation, building that foundation of trust, and that is our ultimate mission for being here in the Promised Land.
all right. Rabbi, you work with the Saudis?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
We enjoy, in terms of our support, we're very proud that we have support from both leading Jews and leading Muslim figures. On the Jewish side, we have the supports of, the Lauders and the Brafmans and the Maskeviches and the Spielbergs of the world. And on the Muslim side, King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, the King of Bahrain, I am currently writing my second book. I'm co-authoring my second book with the head imam, the imam of the great mosque of New York, Imam Shamsi Ali. It's titled, Muslims and Jews, Can We Trust the Other? The patron of our book, which will be coming out September 2013, is being published by Beacon Press. The patron of our book is King Mohammed VI of Morocco. And not only, yes, Lilian Shalom, yes, you can applaud the king, but not only are we grateful for his financial support, but the king will be writing the preface. The king will be writing the foreword to this book, putting His Majesty's stamp on the book, on our efforts, which we know will reverberate throughout the Jewish and the Muslim worlds.
All right. Russell, tell me a little bit about your personal life, your way of life, being a vegetarian,
I don't
being
have vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat animal product. I'm a yogi. I mean, there's scripture that support my work and my lifestyle, and the Yoga Sutras is simple textbook for happiness or enlightenment.
What kind of yoga is this? Where do you...
The Yoga Sutras was written 5,000 years ago. It's a simple practice. There are 194 threads. They don't contradict anything in any scripture written by... Yeah, and then there's a few other books that are part of the process. And there's a physical practice you may know, but it's a spiritual practice. And I find that all scriptures and all the prophets run parallel, the same one God. And over and over, you have the same truth told in different languages by different prophets in different parts of the world at different times. But they said the same stuff. So for me, it's easy to work with, my brother's a preacher, a Christian preacher, to work with the Jewish community. I've known them all my life. I know many members of the Muslim community, and I just feel at home in a synagogue, in a mosque, in a church. I feel at home in a temple. I feel at home in any place of worship. I don't know that I believe every burning bush, but I try to believe all the prophets, all the experiences, the mysticism in all the books, but I don't know which ones. But I know that there is this enlightenment, this idea of taqwa, the Muslims refer to, or samadhi, the yogis refer to, or nirvana, the Buddhists have. All in the Kabbalists have a state of enlightenment, this idea of being awake, present, and this idea of moving towards God is expedient. You move faster when you follow these scriptures and these support systems. So I believe in all religions, and I meditate twice a day. I practice yoga every day if that's my ritual. Religiously, I do these things. But there's a yogic prayer, which I put in the wall today. Is that a secret, what I put in the wall?
No, you're more than welcome. You weren't talking to the wall, went right up to heaven.
It's a Loka Samasta Sukhi No Bhavantu, and it's a simple mantra. It's a yogi's commitment. So may all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may my thoughts, words, and actions contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom. When I say beings, I mean human beings and other beings. So that's why I'm an animal rights person, and so I find that's pretty much my philosophy is to promote happiness for others, or promote for others what you want for yourself.
And how's the music business?
Oh, I sold Def Jam years ago, but there's an artist here, our rapper Shine is here from Def Jam Records. Stand up, Shine.
Stand up, Shine.
Yeah.
He's an Orthodox Jew. Oh, shit. Yeah, he's an Orthodox Jew. I'm sorry, Kimura. Don't curse.
I thank you very much, Russell Simmons and Rabbi
My
Marc
pleasure.
Schneier. Thank you very much.